getting injections and glute stuff. I think that's ridiculous. I don't like the look. I honestly don't. I think they got these little legs and his glutes like hanging out of here. And I'm like, really? You really think that you built those glutes like that? Like, so you're shredded, you're lean, you're, 15% body fat or less, and your glutes are round,
Mm-hmm.
round and full, right? And everything else is dry and tight, but your glutes are so round. Oh no, my glutes are just a different muscle.
Um,
Like, come on,
to
man.
interject, I'm sorry to but or even like on the norms, girls that do BBLs and it's just
Yes, I've
ridiculous.
seen those.
That not you
I've
all getting
seen
carried away. Small
tiny
waistline,
little legs,
skinny little
skinny
legs, and just
legs,
like
skinny waist, and then this it's so talk about disproportionate. I hate the look. Even in bikini, I do not like the look. If a girl is doing side enhancement in their glutes in bikini, I don't like it. I don't think it looks good. I like proportions.
people been saying out there that trend makes you gay.
But how's it going, everybody? And this is another episode of Paradise Pump. I'm Mark, and we have Jed and Mel. And what are we talking about today?
Oh, we got
Hmm.
lots of good stuff to talk about. We're gonna do something fun, a little bit of different this time around. Let's talk about,
That cord off.
move that cord.
Which? Oh yeah.
That's our centerpiece today.
I know we haven't had a centerpiece in
Yeah,
a
we
while.
hadn't had one. Ah,
Yeah,
shoot.
maybe we'll put something out
Anyway,
here.
back to the story. What we're gonna talk about today, today's topics are gonna be a fun one. We're gonna talk about overrated or underrated. So everything's free game.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Over unders.
Yeah.
Like it.
So
I like it.
as Jed adjusts the camera here, let's just get this ball rolling here.
What kind of stuff? Supplemental, like stuff
Yes.
like that, training shit.
Anything and everything is free game for this over under.
Okay.
From supplements to gear to rest, recovery to whatever. Perspectives on bodybuilding is because we've been doing a lot of that. Don't you notice? Like we've been talking about, especially contest prep, the mindset that you got to get into. And then I figured this would be a little bit more of a fun subject.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I think so. I think it'd be good.
We can start with the G-rated stuff. Multivitamins, overrated or underrated?
Multivitamins to me, overrated.
You're just saying that
Overrated, buddy.
Why?
No.
Okay.
There are some, but I think it's overrated. Like I don't even use multivitamins anymore. Like honestly, I don't know. If you eat pretty good, we didn't have multivitamins back in the freaking 50s and shit. I don't know. I don't know. I think it's like, multivitamins became a thing back in the 70s and 80s. But I think there's some vitamins that I think are good, but just those multivitamin complex or those all-in-ones, I think those are overrated to me.
Okay.
But there's individual vitamins that some of them I think, yeah, they're not bad. They're pretty decent. I would say those are good.
How about you, Jed?
Um, if you can find a really good quality one that actually works, then I think they're good. I don't think I think in a diet situation they can be underrated because when you're dieting, you're not going to get all your nutrients from the food and stuff all the time. So I do think they're very helpful there, but I don't trust a lot of them on the market.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So I'd rather pay the higher dollar and get really good ones. Like if you have a Centrum or something, and it has all these things listed in one
Centrum
capsule that's
100.
this big.
Yeah, Centrum
Yeah,
100
you're no.
Animal Pack.
Like the ones
Those
I
are good,
use,
right?
yeah, or the one I use is like 5 pills twice a day.
Yeah, I could never, dude. I used to get animal packs, and it's like a 30-day supply. And I think by like day 15 or 16, I kind of just stopped taking them because I was like, oh man, these freaking things. I don't know. I just whatever. I
All
don't know.
right.
It wasn't my thing.
Well, as far as me and for the people who I help, they already know I'm pretty big on vitamins and extra supplementation, especially the naturals. I am kind of big on it because, like, you said before, back in the 70s or like prior to there, we weren't really big on the multivitamins. At the same time, like I'm just gonna say it, like our food that we eat now in comparison to
Yeah.
back in the
Food
70s,
quality.
the quality is completely diminished. So being that said, I I think it's underrated to supplement with a multivitamin. So I suggest it and to everyone. But Jed makes a good point as well too, where you gotta get a good quality one. You don't need a freaking expensive ass one. It's just something not, but something better than Central. Like, go to
That doesn't even digest most
something
of the
better
time.
than Flintstone Kids.
Ooh, I like those growing
Those
up.
taste
Those
good
are
though,
good.
right? Something
Candy.
better than that. Go do a little bit of research.
Yeah. Yeah.
Pick one. Over under.
Yeah.
Pick a subject.
Over, under, okay, we'll go with creatine
Ooh,
Yeah.
we talked about this.
since we're doing,
Okay.
wait, some people, I don't know, have you heard this? Some people think that creatine is in enhancing. Like some people think I've heard some people say, "Oh, that's not natural if you're taking creatine."
Oh,
I'm like,
so
I think you're wrong. You are wrong.
it's
Yeah.
not illegal. You can buy it over the
Yeah.
counter, even on Amazon, and people think creatine is enhancing as far as chemically
Well,
enhanced.
it's meaning that you're not
You're
natty
not
if you're
natty.
taking creatine. Like I've just heard this once or twice from certain people. Like, oh, if you do creatine, that's not really natty. But I was like, no, that is natty. Sorry. So I don't think that that's chemical enhancement.
As far
Yeah.
as that perspective, you still got your natty card.
Yeah.
From my perspective on creatine being a natty thing. I think creatine is underrated. I mean, it's been around for years and
Mm.
there's so much evidence and proof if people want to go do your own damn research about it, that it shows there's benefits to using creatine. I'm not going to go
Mm.
expand upon
Yeah.
this, but
Yeah.
go ahead, Jed. You had something to include?
I would say, in the sense of what people thought it was going to do in the 90s,
Yeah.
definitely
Oh,
overrated.
for
Oh, yeah.
sure. For
In
sure.
the sense
Yeah.
of cell tech,
Yeah.
overrated. I mean, I just got fat off
Yeah,
of cell
buddy.
tech.
Mm.
I mean, it is well, I think it's the only FDA approved supplement that actually works, right? It's I
And
mean,
it's
Kinda
not
works,
WADA
but
banned either.
yeah,
So
yeah.
it's,
yeah.
But people will, I remember I used to blow money on the Muscle Tech Cell Tech stat or
Mm.
Nitrotech Cell Tech, thinking it was going to
Yeah.
be the game changer, and it's not. I mean, it definitely helps, but it's not. I remember when it first came out in the 90s and everybody was buying that
It was
shit,
huge.
and they still look the fucking same a month later. We were all loading it and getting diarrhea and everything, and
Yeah, as
I,
far as physical enhancement, I don't think maybe it does, for performance a little bit,
Yeah.
but physical enhancement,
for the
nah.
price, I mean, most of it's relatively inexpensive. If you want to throw something on there, intra workout to help a little bit, spend the money. I mean, it's not that
Mhm.
bad. Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna do it. Overrated, baby. I don't know. I know you're gonna go
no,
once you go
no,
into
that's fine.
chemicals, I'll be like, oh yeah, that's good. But no, I just again, I don't know. I just don't see, and I've done all these things.
Mhm.
And the benefits for the amount of time, and taking it and all this stuff and just the
Could I interject real fast?
just don't think so.
Because you did the stack, and
Oh, I
you
did, yeah.
came from creatine. You're like, fuck, creatine ain't shit.
Yeah, yeah,
After
yeah, yeah,
you've gone
yeah.
on like a major growth stack,
Mm.
so that's why you probably, is that why you
Well,
did
no,
it?
no, because I'm looking at what you can get from it, and I'm just
Oh,
like,
okay, okay,
honestly, the
okay,
benefits from it. If you just take out anabolics and stuff like that,
okay, okay.
I'm not going to compare it to anabolics. I'm just looking at it like, is it worth the money and to take it every day and do it? And it's like, okay, to me, the results, I don't think it is. I mean, maybe if you're 100% natty and you're doing it for a sport, maybe that.
Okay.
If you're doing it for bodybuilding, no, I don't think so. Um, Powerlifting, maybe powerlifting. Okay, I would say maybe there's some benefit for that. But bodybuilding for sure, I don't think so. I think it's overrated. So because we're kind of like we're talking about bodybuilding, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, if everything this is geared towards bodybuilding, I'm gonna say overrated.
Okay. Fair. I
All right.
actually like your opposing view.
I'm just being honest, man. All right, Jed, you got one for us?
Are we still G rating or what?
Oh, whatever.
No.
Yeah.
Um, growth hormone on the regional level.
Ooh.
Regional. Mm.
At a regional level.
Like you just your first contest, you're going to compete. you want, and let's say you're just some like
First
trust
contest?
fund baby that's got
Wait,
the
first
money,
contest, GH?
or you're competing. I won't say first contest, but I mean you're on the regional level. I mean,
Okay.
Okay.
and like let's say you've got the money.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
All right. I'll go first. So
Yeah.
as far as GH, it could go both ways. Why I say that is because if you have the real HGH, like Serostim or the stuff that these AIDS patients, HIV patients get, like the real legit stuff, oh, it could work wonders. But if you get the China grade stuff, I mean that's a crapshoot. So yes, it could go over and underrated. Underrated if you get the legit stuff. That's what I'm saying. But as far as dependent on how much you choose to use, because if you're using it for just minimal cosmetics, hair, skin, nails, and all of that very soft tissue, superficial stuff, if you're in your older age, maybe it could be beneficial, but there are cheaper alternatives like GCHU copper, and we can go into that later. But if you're doing it for growth and development, the way that I know you experimented before,
Sauce about, baby.
oh man,
Gross,
then
gross, gross.
yeah, that's some secret sauce right there. That's
Yeah.
way underrated. So yes, if you're using 1, 2 IUs, it's not gonna
Yeah.
get you like bodybuilding benefits. But yeah, like I said, hair, skin, nails, soft tissue, pretty good stuff. Go ahead. Mike.
Yeah, I think regional level, I think most people don't need it. Yeah, for sure. Depends on your age too. I think if you are older, and you're regional, like I think you could use it. Older meaning probably like 45 and up, I'd say. I would say, yeah, there's probably pretty good benefits for somebody in that age bracket, to use it at a regional even, just in general, I think it's good. So, but it's probably, I think, overrated again for regional level. Now, for sure, you want to go national level, then I recommend getting on it. You know what I mean? And you're not just doing 2 IUs. You're doing probably 4 at least, 4 to 5
Yeah.
IUs. Well, I mean, yeah, that's a whole different. That's an off-season dose for a lot of people, but I think 4 to 5 IUs is good. But yeah, so it's probably overrated for regional. National, definitely recommended. So yeah, because you can win regional shows without it.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, I
yeah.
agree.
Yeah.
I agree. Unless
And it
you're
costs a lot of money for
Heck
just a
yes.
regional show. I mean,
yeah,
but again, if you're older, oh yeah, I recommend even if you're not competing, just get on it. 2 IUs a day is pretty good, man.
I
So,
agree. So
all right.
What's your opinion on that? Let's hear it, Judge.
no, I agree, Mark. I mean, unless you're a lot older, I don't think. I mean, I've qualified at the regional level without GH.
Yeah.
I
Right.
mean, if I can, anybody can.
Yeah.
Shit, I don't think it's really that needed. So
With your experience with GH, out of curiosity, when did you start to feel the swollen hands, carpal tunnel symptoms? About how much units above?
Now, again, what you were saying earlier, you get China products and you got better, US pharmaceutical, European. It does make a difference a little bit. I have found that Chinese products are pretty good though.
Yeah.
And it depends on how it was stored, all that stuff, how you mix it. There's a lot of factors involved, but I know usually I'd say it'd have to be around 5 or higher.
Okay.
If I'm hitting over 5, then maybe. If I'm under 5, I never really had sides.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I never had the numbs and stuff, but usually 5 and up, that's when I started getting that. Yeah.
Interesting.
I can run 2, 3 and never get any side effects. Yeah.
I know China grade stuff. I mean, with evolution time and everything and
Yeah,
stuff.
it's
I
pretty
I
good.
know
Yeah.
they're getting up there as well as far as quality.
It is. I mean, sure, like, if it may be dosed a little bit lower, right? Like it's like, okay, maybe it's not the full strength, but a lot of guys have ran tests on these
Yeah.
and they have tested it out and a lot of them come out good. So the
Yeah.
numbers come out right. So you'd be surprised some of these generic Chinese ones that are doing really well.
I've gotten
So
to where I couldn't feel the steering wheel when I was driving.
yeah, well, see, that's how much were you doing?
10 I use a day.
C10, yeah, exactly.
Do it
Exactly.
pre-workout. I do the
Exactly.
insulin and then 10 I
10,
use, and then
yeah.
drink the intra workout.
Yeah, you do the whole gambit. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's
That's like the bulk.
the pumps are
gambit.
good, but the swollen ankles and shit by Friday, Saturday's not fun. So
Yeah. Well, and I think some people are just more prone to that
yeah, I am.
swelling and stuff. Like I can, yeah,
I'm
you
real
for
sensitive
sure.
to
Yeah.
GH.
Yeah. Me, I was
Even
never.
the MK677, 2 or 3 weeks into that, I get start getting
Mhm,
fucked up.
mhm.
So
All right. So speaking of it, let's talk
Let's
about
do
insulin.
insulin.
Over or under? Go ahead, Mark.
Ooh, insulin underrated.
Yeah.
See, now we're talking. Now we're talking some good stuff. If you know how to use it
Yeah.
correctly. Oh, insulin, man, insulin. You will see and you will feel results with that
Mhm.
for sure. But you got to know what you're doing. I don't recommend it for everybody. Definitely don't recommend it for just like we were talking about that regional guy that's just kind of
First
like has no
timer.
desire to go national, doesn't really have big hopes and dreams of turning pro. Like I wouldn't recommend it for them. But again, if you want to go national level, then yep, I recommend you learn. I don't think
Hmm.
everybody has to do it. I don't think everybody has to do it, but it definitely can help.
Yeah.
But you need to know what you're doing.
Yeah.
You don't want to just kind of like throw it in there. So yeah, but yeah, I think it's a little underrated.
Jed.
if you're not chasing it with food, definitely underrated. It's for those people that can't process food properly and stuff, it's definitely a tool that can come in and be a game changer and equal it out. But I think the problem with some people is they don't realize everything that all the mechanisms of why insulin works, and so they just they get to where they start chasing it with food, and they think the more they take, the more bigger they get. And if they think more of a perspective of okay, my glucose, my digestion is not, and my food uptake is not as good as it should be, so let me balance that out with a little bit of insulin. Then if you use it like that, definitely worth it.
Mhm.
I've done it both ways. I'm actually a fan of the all day basil stuff.
Humalog. Like
Novolin N.
Oh yeah, that's long.
Novolin
Yeah,
N is
yeah.
real good.
the
The other ones
ends.
is just, you miss the timing, it could be a bad day. I've got some fucking stories on that, but definitely don't chase it with food. But if you know how to use it properly to equal out where your body's genetically lagging behind, it can help.
Mm,
My perspective on it is very underrated. If you know what you're doing, it could be very beneficial, but something that I do not recommend somebody that's still like at this local state level stuff. If you want to get up there and eventually compete at nationals and pros, and this is life, yeah, sure, give it a whirl, but please do your research first. Another reason why I think it's underrated, it's very easily found and available.
yeah, it
Yeah,
is.
at your local store. I'm not gonna
Pharmacy.
that's all I'm gonna
Yeah,
say.
yeah, yeah. Or your local grandmother's refrigerator.
Yeah.
Or grandma's refrigerator.
Do you think? Do you think? Do you think? Fuck, I was gonna say. You think Humalog is necessary, or people can get by with the basil or the Novolin R? Or,
I like Humalog. I used
yeah,
to run Humalog all the time.
you have to take it every
I
day.
like
Man.
short acting. That's why.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Well, because then for me, when I was doing it, I kind of preferred that because then I won't get no episodes later. I know in
yeah,
like this 4 hour window, I do it, 4 hour window, it's done, and I'm good. I'm not gonna have to worry 8 hours later. Oh, I'm crashing. Like
Crash.
I never
Yeah.
had that when I
Or
was
on
doing
your
Humalog.
drive home, you do that, you crash. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So I never had to. That's why I liked him a lot because it was a short window, and that was it. And then I was good, and I didn't have to worry about it later. I didn't like that worrying about like I'm out somewhere and all of a sudden I'm crashing and I'm like, oh, gotta have sugar on me. You know what I mean? That's just too much. Yeah. But some people will combine both. They'll do like Humulin R with the
Jesus.
Humalog post workout and stuff. Yeah. So anyway, oh, I got one.
Okay.
BPC 157. BPC
BPC
157. The
157.
Wolverine. The Wolverine stack. TB. How we got TB 500 with BPC 157. The Wolverine stack. If you know what that is, if you don't know, look it up. But
Um,
it's
okay.
our
From
peptides
my
for
own
healing.
personal experience, um, I need to say it's both overrated and underrated. Why? But why? Well, first of all, if you're
Hmm.
if you're injured to the point where you do need surgery, BPC 157 and TB 500's not gonna
Yeah.
do much justice. So therefore, it could be overrated thinking that you could avoid surgery. Underrated, say you had a great workout and you're starting to feel a little tight, and that tightness in your shoulder or whatever is starting to nag you, and you're like, okay, I caught it early. Let's go. Let's start the BPC and 157 and TB 500 therapy right away. Yeah, you could probably catch something and start to actually
Yeah.
mitigate that a lot sooner than waiting so long. So that's
Mhm.
my perspective and
Yeah.
personal experience on that as well too.
Yeah, yeah. No, I would go with, I think it's pretty popular right now.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think it's like underrated to me because I definitely think like what you were saying, if you have a major injury, yeah, I wouldn't count on it to help. But if you had something, a smaller injury, a tear, and you want to accelerate the healing process, then there's been a lot of cases that, I mean, that they've shown that it's definitely helped get you healed up quicker and get you back to your training again a lot faster
Hmm.
than without. So for sure, I think the combination is great. The BPC is obviously for ligaments, and then the TB is for the muscle, right? Yeah. TB
Yes, sir.
500s for muscle healing. BPC is for ligaments.
I
Or
can't
it's
remember.
the other way
My
around.
brain
No, I think
hurts.
it's what it is. Anyway, well, whatever. But yeah, so that's why the BPC. A lot of guys will just run one of them. And the BPC seems to be the favored one that a
Hmm.
lot of guys will actually use, and that's supposed to be more of a ligament thing, you know. So that's why, and then that's because typically, right, if you have a muscle tear, a lot of times it's going to heal. I mean, it will heal, right? And it takes whatever period it's going to take, it will heal. Ligaments don't necessarily heal, right? I mean, if it's torn, it's torn, and it's kind of like that's what it is. But they say BBC can actually help. I mean, it's not going to fully, you're not going to grow a new ligament, but it can help heal that. So, and with the TB 500, which helps with the muscular healing, I think it's a pretty good stack. Yeah.
It is definitely underrated. Reason one, even people out there that don't believe in peptides swear that this stuff works. Everybody knows it works. Two, I've used it post surgery and my recovery was a lot faster.
Yeah.
Definitely post surgery, especially like a tendon ligament reattachment. It's very, very crucial. Um, in fact, when we did the old podcast, I talked about it because my bicep healed up so
That's
fast
right.
after they
That's right.
reattached it. And I used TB 500 and BPC 157. So as preventive measures, like if you're somebody that's really growing and you want the joints to keep catching up so that they don't tear, because especially these progressive overload guys that don't know when to back off, it might come in handy. I'm never using that scenario, but I've thought about it and I think it would work. So it's definitely out of all the peptides out there, it's the one that's most talked about right now.
Hmm.
So yeah.
That's
Oh
a very
yeah.
good answer for as far as excuse me, preventative measures. I do have a question before we move on from this TB and BPC thing. I've heard so many different variations. Do you inject it in the same place, same syringe, or do you guys separate your TB injection from your BPC and your localized
It's
area as well
separate.
too?
It's separate because BPC, you're going to do that daily. Typically, it's 2 times a day because the half life on that. So you want to do it morning and evening. TB, honestly, it's kind of, they do like a loading phase, right? They'll do like a 5-day loading phase with TB, and then you just do it like twice a week.
Yeah.
And it's just kind of a maintenance. The TB actually costs more. Like over the long term, it's a little bit more expensive. But the BPC, yeah, that's a pain with the BPC, right? Is you're doing that 2 times a day. A lot of guys won't do
Yeah.
it. They'll just nail it once, and they'll kind of hit a higher dose once. And I don't know. There's only so much your body's going to be able to uptake in one
Hmm.
dose, right? So you're kind of wasting it. You're kind of peeing it out a little bit. So if you want to get your money's worth, you should probably split it up and then do it like that. So yeah.
What about your perspective on that, Jed?
The same syringe?
I'm not a fan.
If I got to worry about how much money I'm spending on syringes, then I probably shouldn't be buying the shit. So I always split it up. Now the argument over whether it's systemic or localized, I've heard different theories on it. When I did it, I put it right either in the tendon or right at the bottom of the
Yeah.
bicep.
Yeah, I agree
Make
with
sure it
that.
got there.
They say it is systemic though. They do say that it is systemic, but I've done what you've done. I put it near the whatever injury.
I mean,
Yeah.
because
So
BPC 157 does come from your gut. So if
yeah,
you do take it in a pill form, then it's going to be a little bit more for an overall
ulcer and
thing. And
yeah.
yeah, but then if you're taking it localized, then you're addressing that specific area.
Hmm.
So I've heard a lot of people with their own little theories, but hey, if you got the money to do it, knock yourself out. Give everything a whirl. Do your own do
Give
your
it
own
all.
research on it first.
Oh
Yeah.
man, that's funny. Yep.
All
Good
right. Whose
stuff.
turn is it? Who's got one? Jed's turn.
You got something, Jed?
Again.
Yeah. I have a list.
I have seen instances where, well, no, I don't know. I don't think I do it there either. But I will say I have noticed that if you're in a deficit, you do need to eat pretty soon after working out. I've seen if you will measure your blood sugar, like let's say like I have my guys usually do a shake, has carbs and protein in it, they'll spike. Within an hour, if they test their blood sugar, it will drop.
Mm.
Like fucking clockwork.
Hmm.
It will drop in an hour. And so if you wait too long past that and you're in too much of a deficit, especially if your protein's not very high, you're going to experience low glycemic symptoms. That happened to me actually recently because I was training someone, I lost track of time.
Yeah.
But so I say like this whole like you're not going to grow if you don't eat this. It's fucking overrated. But if you're in a deficit and you're dieting and stuff, you definitely need to eat after your trade.
Yeah. I got one for you.
Okay, let's go.
This is a big one. This is a big one. Very popular. Pre-workouts, pre-workout drinks, powders, all that shit.
Overrated.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Yeah.
Pre-workout as far as all of this stuff, like people dry scoop in, one
Hmm.
down the hatch, and
Hmm.
stuff like that. I think that's overrated. You There's other things that you could probably spend your money on that's better than taking all this pre-workout stuff. Um, However, if you absolutely need to do it because you feel some type of way and you like the way that it makes you feel, it makes you work out a little harder in the gym or give you that boost of energy, by all means knock yourself out. But like for me, I'm super old school. Like I don't do the pre-workout scoop thing.
Mm.
When I'm in prep, what I've done was this is how cheap I am, dude. I I would just buy caffeine pills, the
Yeah.
200
Oh, yeah.
milligram
Yeah. Yeah.
caffeine pills, and that
Yeah.
was it. That was my
That
pre-workout.
was it.
As
Yeah.
I didn't buy these things, and the only reason why I would have it is because somebody gave it to me. I'm like, okay, let's give it a try. I ended up not really like, yeah, that's all right. But
Mm.
a lot of them would make me feel flush. I would have like major tachycardia, and I would just have to sit down and be like, fuck, I can't handle this shit. And then cut my workout short and just go home and have to
Yeah.
calm down and drink water. I'm like,
Yeah.
there goes my fucking day. I just screwed that one up. So from my perspective and my personal experience, I don't feel like I need it to get a good workout in. I'm like one of those crazies that could get in my own mind space and get a good
Hmm.
workout despite how I feel. So therefore it's overrated.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yep. I'm gonna say overrated. I think it's just a super trendy thing. It's been going on for years. And I think that a lot of people are addicted to it mentally. They think that they need it. We have guys come in here, they're like traveling, drop in, like, oh, do you have any pre-workout, pre-workout? Like their energy's all good. Like they come in, they're all like happy to be here, first time here. They're all hyped and like they need a pre-workout. I'm like, why do you even need a pre-workout, dude? Like you're like ready to go, but they need it, and I'm kind of like, okay, like I don't even, yeah, it's like, why do you don't even need it, dude. Like if you want it, that's fine. If you like the way it tastes, cool, whatever. But I'm just saying it's definitely overrated. It does work. I mean, it does get people hyped up, of course, gets people fired up. But I would say people have been doing it for a long time. They probably don't even feel it anymore. And then it's more at that point, it's just more of a mental thing.
Mm.
They've just been doing it for so long that they're just used to it, and they feel like if they don't take it, they're not going to get a good workout. I'm like,
It's like their tradition.
well, and they're hooked on it, like, too. They're like this, like, addictive, right? They're just hooked. So it's like, try and work out without it, dude. See if you can push yourself. Like, yeah, because I know that you can. You just have to, you don't need it, but a lot of people think that they need that. They need it. And I'm just like, no, you don't really need it. I think it's completely overrated. I think it does work. Yes, it does get people hyped up, but not something that you need. And I know a lot of guys, especially back in the day when I was trained, we never used nothing. We didn't take any pre-workouts. I mean, if anything, you have maybe some iced tea, maybe,
Some
or a
ultimate
coffee. I don't
orange.
know. Well, that was I didn't even mess. I didn't like that stuff, to be honest. I didn't like any pre-workouts ever. So kind of the wrong guy to talk about it. But I was never into pre-workouts. I feel like it made my workouts worse sometimes because it was too much.
Yeah,
Like you
yeah.
said, my adrenaline got so high, my heart rate got. I just didn't like that feeling, and I couldn't control it. I was like, "Whoa, what's going on?" So yeah,
Um, Overrated. As much as I've used stems, I've had some of my best workouts when I don't use them. There's stuff you can use to focus without having me stemmed out of your mind. You know, I've what happens is now is people instead of taking it to get an edge or having to take it to feel normal, just get through the workout.
yeah,
It's supposed to be a tool used. We know you're deep in a diet, you need to pick me up, cool. But now it's become, like you said, it's trendy, so everybody wants to use it. Actually, a long time ago, one of your clients was at the table. This was like when I first came here. And I came up the steps and he was like all antsy. Like, what's wrong, man? He's like, man, I forgot my pre-workout.
yeah,
Do you have any? I said, no. He goes, what am I gonna do? I was like, probably suck it the fuck up, bro.
yeah.
Like, what I mean, I think I said something like, if you have to have a pre-workout to get ready to train, you probably shouldn't be here, you know?
Yeah.
And
Tweaking out, dude.
yeah,
Yeah.
and already like nervous stuff. Obviously, you got something pent up. Now, if you're looking for stuff for like blood flow, things like that, non-stem, I still say you don't have to have them, but I would prefer those over stem products because I mean, I
Nitric
remember, I
oxide.
mean, I was in the Jack 3D
Nitric
era,
oxide.
all that stuff,
Yeah.
it's fun, but it's just, you get so hyped up, then you end up getting injured or doing something stupid or what, sometimes when I'm tired and I work out, I have some of the best workouts.
Yeah.
So I do, so they're all, for the most, they're
For sure.
overrated. Yeah.
Since we're on the subject of that, BCAAs over or under?
Oh man. Overrated. Overrated. Yeah, to me it's overrated. Yeah, just because, obviously I think you're gonna take those a lot of times. If you're dieting, maybe there's a use for it. If you're not dieting, completely waste of money. You're eating enough calories and protein. You should be anyway. Why are you spending your money on that? Unless you like the way it tastes. That's cool. But when you're dieting, yeah, there may be some use for it. But again, I still feel the same way. I don't even think you need to take it when you're dieting. You should just be eating you can get your calories in through your food and your protein. I mean, there's there's some benefits, I guess, for it. But if I feel like if you're gonna do it, just take a full spectrum amino acid
Yeah.
and do BCAAs.
Fair.
Yeah, that's it. That's my thinking on it. So
Go ahead, Jed.
overrated.
Overrated. Did you eat your food today? Yeah, you're good. Go work out.
There you go.
Definitely overrated, but hey, if you like the placebo effect, if you like how it tastes, if it's your workout tradition or whatever, by all means, knock yourself out. But I still really feel like you could spend your money on better things out there than on BCAAs.
Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah. You got one, Jed?
If not, I got more, Jed.
Get into the juicy stuff. Yeah.
You want juices? I'm mixing it up. I think it's a good
Yeah.
combination.
Here's one fasted cardio.
Fasted cardio? Personally, I think it's underrated. Personally, I know they've done tests on it, but honestly, like I think it works pretty good. If you're doing like I just for me and seeing it like your glucose is low, like you wake up in the morning, you're just kind of tapped into like I feel like you're really just tapping into it quick. You just when you get that cardio first thing in the morning, I don't know. I just feel like there's a difference of doing it in the morning than doing it later in the day. There is a difference. So yeah, I do like, but I don't think I don't think you need to do it. If you're on a good program and you're dieting, you don't need to do fasted cardio. You can do cardio whenever you want, but if you can do it in the morning, like fasted, for sure, I think it's pretty good, man. Because there's other things you can take with it fasted that will help you to lose weight. Because it's recommended to take those things on an empty stomach. So with no carbohydrates in your system. So yeah, that's why I think the
Like an
benefit.
ECA stack.
ECA, yohimbine is one of them, right? Hey, this is legal stuff. Yohimbine.
Yeah.
Clenbuterol, of course, yeah, but we haven't even touched that yet, but anyway.
As far as my perspective, I think it's underrated. Reason being is first thing in the morning, for the examples that Mark gave as well too, just get it done and over with. Then you get ready to go to work or proceed with the rest of your day. Then eventually get your workout in. And then if you're doing your workout, um, and then cardio after your workout, you're probably starting to like fall off the scale. So
Mhm.
I think it's underrated just so you can actually get it done in the morning and you actually feel a little bit better. I mean, at the end of the day, if you're going to do 200 calories, either fasted or 200 non-fasted, at the end of the day, end of the week, you're still going to burn the same amount of fat. But I like it for just mental clarity, cognitive purposes, and just get the fucking
Kind of
shit
gets the
done
day
and over
started,
with.
huh?
Yeah,
Gets your day going,
yeah.
and yeah, I would agree with that for sure.
Go ahead, Jed.
Uh, Underrated. Anecdotally, it works, and there is something about not just being in a deficit, but opening up windows of opportunity for fat burning. That is crucial. I don't think people. When I first started doing this, that was how we always thought about it. But now there's arguments on as long as you burn the calories through the
Yeah.
day. Like, no, dude, there's certain times where it will be more efficient than others, and we know that's morning and post workout. If you're lower carbs or no carbs in the afternoon, then steady state in the afternoon works very well too. But yeah, I'm a believer in it, so it's definitely underrated. It works.
Okay, we're gonna go with just like two. I'll put these two things together since
Okay.
I mean, not completely similar, but they do the similar thing. Okay, so synthol, site injections, and like BBLs, things like that. Plastic surgery type, enhancements.
Okay.
So
Um, that is like two parts. If we're just
yeah,
gonna go with complete like injections,
yeah, synthols, site
synthols,
enhancement.
site enhancements,
Hmm.
I think that's overrated because bad injection sites, I know a lot of competitors, they get you know uh kind of nabbed for it while they're on stage. You can see bad injection sites, or you could see like scar tissues of sites coming,
Hmm.
infected and stuff like that, or soon to be, where they start to create these knots or these bulls in the injection points. It does blur a little bit of, not it does, it actually really does blur your lines a little bit. So it's a compromise if you're gonna take the size over striations. Sometimes it's to your detriment, where you actually could have came in a lot more crispier, a lot more
Hmm.
leaner.
Yeah.
Um, as far as me feeling, it could be like, yeah, people do it. Is it cheating? Like I said, from the judge's perspective, their table, you see it,
Yeah.
and it's just like, ah, man, I can't give it to you because that obviously just looks bad.
Hmm.
Um, that's one thing. As far as surgical procedures, implants, butt implants,
Yeah.
yeah, that is absolutely a no-go, especially in bodybuilding.
Right.
You're supposed to be building these body parts. I know people, I mean, you've seen them in some shows. Some of the women do glute implants, some of the men do calf calf implants, some
Oh
ab
yeah.
implants.
Oh
It
yeah.
just looks
Yeah.
terrible,
Yeah.
especially if this is supposed to be bodybuilding. That's inherently what you're supposed to be doing. So
So, well, let me ask you something. No, stop real quick. So, you do think that, like, if say there's competitor A who pretty obvious has some type of site enhancement, or they have some implant, say in their glutes or something, okay, and then competitor B is like, "Hey, what's up with that? Like, that looks." Do you think that competitor B should be complaining about it, or you think they should shut their mouth because that's just the way the sport is, and they need to just keep quiet because that's how it goes, and if you don't like it, then you shouldn't compete?
you absolutely should compete and leave it into the hands of the judges.
Mhm.
And like I said before, implants or injection sites, and if especially if it begins to look like unnatural and ridiculous. I'm not going to say names, but there was a wellness pro who did site injections, and I think this was last year or the year before. a wellness pro girl the year before. Her judges' feedbacks was, oh, a little bit more glute meat and live more, whatever. I don't know. So in order to get there, she admitted to using
Enhancement. Yeah.
enhancement,
Yeah.
site
Yeah.
enhancement, and everybody was just like, okay, that's one thing that you use it, but fuck, you got hella carried away because your
It
ass
was
just
super
looks
obvious. It was super obvious, right? I think I know what you're
yeah,
talking about. Yeah.
and it looked
Yeah. Yeah.
ridiculous.
It just
It
didn't look right.
and she's just like, well, the judges said, and it's just like, sure, but now now you're just damn getting carried away.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And then,
There is a point. Yeah.
yeah,
You know.
there's
Right.
other pro bodybuilders that stepped on the Olympia stage that was suspicious of lat injections, and there was
Oh
that
yeah.
big lat ball over here,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, so do you want to use that, and it could be as at a detriment to your final look. Or one of the other Olympia pros was suspicious of putting him in his shoulders, and his
Hmm.
shoulders just look like big ass calves.
Oh
You
yeah.
guys know, then I mean, does that look normal? Would that be like, yeah, it's
Right.
way overrated.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. I can see it. I would say implants. We'll go with implants first of all. Like, I don't like implants. I am not a fan. Like you were saying, breast implants. I mean, let's be honest. That's like a norm for like females. Male, no, but females they do breast implants, and that's kind of a norm, and that's accepted, and that's totally fine. But like glutes, calves, any of those, I'm totally against it. I think that the sport is like you said, it's bodybuilding, right? Site injection, synthol and stuff. Mm, I personally am not a huge fan of it, but I think I mean, there are people who will use it to, I think maybe sometimes you're trying to bring up a weak part a little bit. You can kind of shape it a little bit. I know back in the 90s, there was a lot of good pros that used it that people didn't know necessarily, but I mean, their arms were crazy or their shoulders were nuts. And you're like, dude. And I remember kind of being like, I'm gonna try and get like that, and I was like, I can't get like that. And then I remember being like, oh yeah, like I needed to do that, and I didn't want to use synthol. I was against that. Doing site injections with steroids, like injecting it into my arm stuff. Yeah, I played around with that, and I tell you what, it did help a little bit. But I am not a huge fan of just injecting oil into my
Oils.
body to give that enhancement. I'm not for it again, but I know there are uses and some people do use it. And I think that, yeah, it can probably help some people. But is that considered cheating in the sport? Because, anabolics really isn't cheating. Everybody does anabolics. Is that considered cheating? I don't know. In a way, I kind of feel like it is. But it's like whatever. It's fair game. Everybody knows what everybody's doing pretty much. People know that they are doing it and they have the option to do that if they
Hmm.
want to. So I don't, again, I don't really think that I would prefer the sport to not have synthol and not have those implants. I would prefer, but everything else is good. But those, yeah, I mean, again, so especially for the females who are doing bikini and stuff and the wellness and getting injections and glute stuff, I think that's ridiculous. I don't like the look. I honestly don't. I think they got these little legs and his glutes like hanging out of here, and I'm like, really? You really think that you built those glutes like that? Like, so you're shredded, you're lean, you're 15% body fat or less, and your glutes are round,
Hmm.
round and full, right? And everything else is dry and tight, but your glutes are so round. Oh no, my glutes are just a different muscle.
um
Like, come on,
to
man.
interject, I'm sorry to but or even like on the norms, girls that do BBLs, and it's just
Yes, I've
ridiculous
seen those.
that not you
I've
all getting
seen.
carried
Well,
away.
it's the whole Kardashian thing, right? They did that, right?
Small
Tiny
waistline,
little legs,
skinny little
skinny
legs, and just
legs,
like,
skinny waist, and then this. It's so talk about disproportionate. I hate the look. Even in bikini, I do not like the look. If a girl is doing side enhancement in their glutes in bikini, I don't like it. I don't think it looks good. I like proportions.
and it doesn't serve you well because as far as BBLs, when you start to come down for your show and you lose the fat, you're gonna lose the fat in your
Yeah,
ass.
you always do. Yeah,
As far as site injecting it to compensate for it, you're gonna have like the rest of your body lean, and you're just gonna have
just
ass.
fullness. Yeah,
It looks weird.
it
It's
looks
not
round and
normal.
full, and everything is dry and flatter and
Stringy,
tight.
flat,
Yeah,
tight,
like, oh, interesting how that
lean,
works. Yeah,
with just your ass,
yeah,
soft and
amazing.
fat.
They have the best food genetics ever. That's why.
Oh,
Yeah, it's just it's all genetics,
I got
genetics and
Asian
training.
ass syndrome, I
It's
guess. Oh, fuck.
oh, and especially if you're Asian and you have a big brown butt like that. I'm just saying, right? I mean, that's not typical for Asian to have the kind of glutes,
No,
right?
not at all.
But hey, I mean, it's all natural, baby.
Oh,
I don't know.
it's
I think it's
real.
funny.
Mark,
No,
don't you know it's
it's
real?
real. It's
It's
real.
real
Yeah.
expensive.
I know it's real expensive, and you shouldn't complain about it if you're another competitor, because if you don't do it, then that's your fault.
I mean, like I said too, if you're competitor B and you're not taking that route of injectable
Yeah.
oils
Yeah.
in the glutes or
Yeah.
enhancement sites, I mean, yeah, you can complain all you want. Just like how at this state level, I hear it a lot where there's natural competitors are like, oh, that person only did good because they're on steroids. Well,
Yeah.
you can do steroids
Well,
if you want.
that's part of the
Or you
sport.
could you
Yeah.
could compete in a natural show, or you could
Mhm.
work your ass on.
Because isn't it in the rule book where you're not supposed to do site enhancement? Like you're not supposed to do synthol or
I
implants in
think
certain
there's
areas.
something
Isn't
about
that
it. I'm
I'm
not
pretty
sure.
sure
But I know as far
there's
as
nothing in there that
judging,
says anabolics. You can take anabolics.
we've been told like, hey, if they got implants,
Mark them
sorry,
down. Yeah.
knock them
Yeah.
down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Jet?
The sport is about building, shaping muscle, and then getting all to work in concert to look a certain way on the body. If you can't build and shape your muscle, hang it up. Bottom line.
No, 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 Jed. If you don't like the way the girls look because they're using synthol and implants, then hang it up
I didn't say
because
anything about using synthol. I said building the muscle.
no, I'm just saying there's people that are like that.
They
They
said there's a
really
difference.
they really think that. Like you shouldn't bitch about it. You need to either do what they're doing or just deal with it.
No, there's something that's the segment for the sport's about, and it's not for everybody. We keep forgetting that not everybody's a pro football player, not everybody's a bodybuilder, not everybody's a wellness athlete.
Yeah.
Maybe you're supposed to be a fucking accountant. Go do that. It's if you're using the side injections to build the muscle later on, you could argue that's okay. But like you said, when you're doing it right before you go out on stage and stuff, I know they do it. And I know at that point, you probably have to break the rules to get even bigger than where you're at or get things to work out. But at the end of the day, the sport's about building, shaping muscle, getting lean, and presenting a certain shape. And if you can't do that, like go home. That's how I feel about it.
Mhm. Yeah.
And I'm one of those that had to go home. So I'm
Yeah.
going to say that.
That's it. Yeah. Oh.
Hey, I had to hang it up too. It's all right.
Well, yeah, we don't compete anymore, so
All right, I'm gonna bring it up. The taboo, the nectar of the gods. Tren.
the nectar of the gods. Horrible.
Go ahead, Mark.
Horrible. Trenbolone. Oh yeah, that's good stuff, man. Let me tell you, it works. It is definitely I'm gonna go with underrated, baby. It's good. But the problem with it, it's the mental side of it, right? A lot of people can't handle the side effects. They get emotional, they get a little bit crazy, they do crazy things. So definitely not recommended for everybody. I don't think you have to use it when you're competing. I really don't. I think you can get away, even at a high level show, you can probably just get away without it. There's a lot of other things you can take. And again, and if your diet's on point and everything, you can do fine. But for sure, like it does work and it does do what it's supposed to do. But the side effects, man, ooh, sometimes it ain't worth it. You know what I mean? Sometimes so a lot of relationships ended because of it. And then the guy comes begging back after the show. Oh, sorry, I'm off a trend now, though. We're good. Like, too late. She's already moved on, dude. But yeah. So I don't know. I think it's probably what did I say? Underrated?
You
Yeah,
said
I said
underrated.
underrated. It is underrated, yeah, for sure. Because it does really work. You just have to be able to control it. If you can control it, right on. More power to you. Take the right dose, and I think you're gonna see some amazing results for sure.
I like what you said. Go ahead, Jen, before I say my piece.
Underrated, overused, and not for everybody.
Mm.
Ooh.
Oh yeah.
Ooh. Is that it?
Short and
That's
s-
Yeah, that's it.
short and sweet.
period.
Short and sweet. I did all the explaining.
um, overrated.
Mm.
We're going opposite of you.
Yeah.
I'm saying overrated is because, like how you mentioned before, you can grow using other means, other substances that won't mess with your mental health.
Mhm.
Like you said, there's lots of people it costed them their relationship during contest prep, the moodiness, and you guys don't know how to keep your estrogen in check. Um, the night sweats, the like
Oh, I
the
like
you,
those night
you
sweats.
like the night
Oh yeah,
sweats?
I love that.
Oh,
I love that.
okay.
Oh yeah, I
The
would. No, seriously, like I really liked it. I was like, oh, this shit's working.
Yeah, it's working.
Yeah, for sure. I really did like that.
Okay, so like the Tren cough, the blood taste in your mouth if you don't know what you're doing, and like it Tren is a little, if you're on the higher end of the doses, is a little deleterious to cardio. Um,
Yeah, yeah.
and the most latest and greatest that a lot of these new influencers has been talking about, and this is why I'm saying so overrated, is because people been saying out there that Tren makes you gay.
What?
Yeah, I've
What?
heard it
Wait,
on
what
the
is this? This
internet.
is like a thing now. It's like a trend with trend. Oh my
Yeah,
god, freaking YouTube, man, freaking
yeah.
Instagram, dude. Like
Instagram
this
is
is like
saying this
too,
shit.
I mean, there
man.
is such thing as gear goggles, like beer goggles, but I mean, I don't
Well,
know.
are they saying it makes them gay because they just get like so horny that they'll just fuck everybody? Like, is that what they're saying?
Yeah.
They'll just go and like, I don't care. They're so horny, they'll just have sex with guys. Anger. Like,
Okay, so like
what is the theory
you're
on
you're
this?
you're growing, kind of trying to. I don't know how it is for you guys, but then like it's a little bit
Your
gay. No,
progesterone
no,
goes
not
up.
just progesterone. It's
Yeah.
just like you guys are bodybuilding, so you guys look at other men like, yeah, that body. And then you take the gear stuff and you get gear goggles and you start like obsessing over this man's body a little bit too much. And
Really?
you're
Oh,
like,
that's
fuck,
okay.
am I gay? I really like his body. He's a handsome fucker though. I'll fuck him.
Wow. This is the new thing, man.
Hey,
These Gen Xers, boy, I tell you what. Whew,
Z's.
or Z's, whatever. They're Z's. Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Where I'm actually Gen X.
We're
Sorry, Gen X. I'm getting
Z's.
confused. These Z's. Yeah, we're at Z's already.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on with these Z's, boy. What's
But it's
up?
a thing on
Yeah,
on
it's kind of a thing.
Instagram,
Yeah,
man. Like,
yeah, yeah,
be
yeah.
careful of your level of
I've
trend
never
because
heard of that. Okay,
it's turns you
I'll
gay,
be looking out
man.
for that. Well, I don't have to worry about it. I don't take it, so I'm good. I guess I'm good.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh
I
boy.
got one. We're gonna go to one that's a little more obscure for the average person, for sure. Most people ain't gonna even know about it, but the bodybuilders, for sure, they're gonna know about it. The real ones, the real ones. DNP, baby. DNP, baby.
Oh
See, I
damn.
brought that one out. Bring that one out. That's a good one. A lot of
Uh,
people don't know about the
Go
DNP,
ahead.
boy. We're talking
Let
about the night sweats and shit.
let
Let's go
Jen
with the
got
night
something to
sweats.
say.
Yeah.
I've never, it's one of the only things I haven't done.
Oh, okay.
So I don't know if I want to. There was part of me wanted to try it to see what it would do, but
Yeah.
I don't know if it's worth it. I've seen people on it, and that was enough to make me kind of push it to the side.
Have you done it?
Yes. My own personal experience with DNP. It's way overrated. It's way dangerous, way bad for your health. Do not I highly advise not to ever try it. Somebody gave me a thing. They're like,
Mm,
"Hey, give this a try." I'm like, "Yeah, sure." That was the worst.
mhm,
I couldn't control my body temperature.
mhm,
Um, and it's you just keep on burning day
mhm.
and night, talking about the night sweats.
Yeah.
You walk outside for like 5 minutes under like this humidity, you're drenched in sweat. It was such an uncomfortable feeling. Couldn't control my heart as well too on that. And then I was sweating so profusely. I made sure that I was hydrated. So I
Mhm,
did a lot more like extra electrolytes and stuff like that. But I think by the second week, my body was like, "What the f are you taking? You ain't taking this crap no more." And I
yeah.
broke out in like hives and shit. You could probably see it in one of my pictures. I'm not gonna say which year, but I was at nationals and I broke out in hives, and I was like, "What the? It's this thing." Because that was the only addition to the whole mix
Oh,
of
Adam. Yeah.
cocktails. So DNP, yeah, I'm petrified ever since my own personal experience. But that shit works. It does burn fat off your body just like
Mhm.
magic though.
Yeah.
So go ahead.
Um, I've done it. Few times. I know all about it. Messed around. I'd say overrated though, because my training sessions suck when I was on it.
Yeah.
Just tired, low energy. And I followed the whole protocol. Like I would have a bunch of sugar before I train, have some fruits. I love the mandarin oranges. Like it's just, oh my God, like cold in the can mandarin oranges when I was
Oh yeah.
dieting, right? I'm dieting, but I get to have this can of mandarin oranges right before I work out. And it was so refreshing. Like I was like, oh, I love it. So I almost wondered if I did DMP every time so I could have my mandarin oranges. But anyway, and I'd run these cycles for like 10 days, sometimes 2 weeks, because that was like 2 weeks was good. Like that was a lot. And you get really hot. Endurance sucks. I mean, the pumps crap. I mean, the workouts were crap. It was mainly just I would just mainly, I was kind of just getting through the workouts. And I remember being like, man, I could push so much harder and really train harder if I wasn't on it. So what's happening here, like did it burn fat? Yeah, I mean, sure it did, but I'm pretty sure like I feel like I could have just done it on my own. It'd taken a little bit longer and just dieted, and just use other things and I think it would have worked fine. So yeah, I think it's really overrated. Plus, I mean, you can definitely get some bad side effects to it.
Yeah.
There's some bad things that can happen. So, if you guys don't know, just look it up. DNP, go on like steroid.com, whatever they have good information on there and you can find it.
I need to emphasize again, highly do not recommend at all.
Do not, it's made out of explosives, it's just
Fertilizer.
yeah, fertilizer slash they use it in TNT. Part of that ingredient
So
is used in TNT.
crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy. And so, yeah, it was actually they used to use it back in the 1920s. People like
Well, no
females would
shitting.
take it. Yeah, and
Yeah.
they used to use it and it was a thing. But then they found it was pretty pretty unhealthy, risky. So
Yeah, people are just dying like
yeah, oh yeah.
flies.
Hey,
So
you lost weight though.
I
You
freaking
come down, boy.
I
It
did.
worked.
Yeah.
Well, death. Like you that's the ultimate weight
No,
loss.
all right. I'm gonna
Death.
tell my story. So I only did 2 weeks on it. This was leading up into nationals. So I flew up there, was on it, whatever. It was to the point like everything went to shit. My body was rejecting it. I checked into urgent care and they're like,
Oh.
what are you doing? I'm like, they took blood tests on me and everything like that. And of course I'm not gonna answer what they questioned me on, right? I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what's going on with my body.
They
And
know.
just plain stupid in there. Yeah, they probably
Yeah.
was like, the fuck. So they gave me the IV bagged me and they put like a cocktail of things inside because obviously I was all fucked up. My skin was I broke out in rash, head to toe, like hives. Then it kind of subsided with the rash. At the urgent care, they gave me some medicine. I'm like, man, this is gonna fuck me up. I'm trying to get ready for this show, and they're giving me medication that's gonna inflame me. So
Mm,
per
yeah. He
it was
freaked
not
out.
pretty.
You
It
had to
was not
freak out.
pretty. I
Yeah.
and I'm like, so what do I do? So I just took the DNP out for the rest of the remainder of the time, and I'm like, just gonna stick it out, hardcore, old school style, and diet down a little bit harder in this last week or what have you, and push a little harder, and fuck that shit. I'm never gonna touch it again. I still got some in my drawer though. I don't
So you still got it never expires. Don't worry. It never expires.
What I hear people's arguments on why it's so great, and they'll be like, man, it like increases your insulin sensitivity. It's like soda's not eating like shit. Like fucking pull your carbs out for a while. I mean, I have guys that are getting bigger and their glucose gets out, pull their carbs for a few days and put it back in. It fixes the problem. Or they'll say, oh, and it keeps your androgen receptors, fresh. Like soda's coming off your shit.
Yeah.
Like this is, sometimes the cut in the corner is not the best answer. And what price are you paying to have those things done when you could just take a break, which is probably better for your body than just force some more food in and staying on stuff and taking something to bypass, coming off of it. I mean, I don't think it's worth it. But there's some people, they'll say anything to justify taking it. Like, just go on a diet, dude. Do it old school. Shit.
Yeah. Yeah. That's it. For sure. Oh, you want another one?
Yeah, I actually do.
You got one? Okay.
Yeah, Sustanon.
The good old Sus 250, baby. Used to go down to Tijuana back in the day and get those bad boys.
Told me so
Ready,
many
ready
Tijuana
checks. Oh, I
stories.
got some Tijuana
Putting
stories,
them in
boy.
bread, trying to hide it.
Oh, I never did tell that story on here.
Oh.
You put it
Oh.
in bread.
Oh, maybe I should
Yeah,
maybe I should
tell the
tell the
story.
story.
Tell the
Maybe I
story.
should
That'd
tell
be a
the
Go
good
ahead. Go ahead.
story.
Well, that wasn't sustenance 250 because in Tijuana they would sell these ready jacks, they call them, and it was came with 1cc. In the 90s, just so you guys know. It was in a package. It was like in one of those aluminum rip packages, with the plastic side. 1cc preloaded syringe. Problem with it, it was cool, but the problem with the needle that was on there, it was like a 20, I think it was a 20 gauge needle, or maybe it was 18 gauge.
A
Sorry.
freaking
I think it was
harpoon.
18 gauge. No, sorry. Yeah, yeah. It was 18 gauge needle.
Oh God.
That's a harpoon.
Oh, no. Yeah. And you never wanted to use that. Well, let me tell you, in the 90s, it was hard to get syringes. You couldn't, there was no online, and it was really hard. So some guys would just be like, let me just stick it. I had a friend,
Oh.
and I'll go through the story, but I did have a friend who was like, hey, dude. And I said, do you have syringes? He's like, no, just use the Ready Check. And I was like, bro, are you serious? He's like, yeah, yeah. I said, okay. Let me tell you, when I stuck it in, I heard it ripping. Like I heard the skin rip. I was like, oh, did it. I pulled it. I held it in there, pulled it out, and it went blood. Like lucky I was like here, I was getting ready for it, and that thing shot out. And I was like, dude. And he put it on there, and I was like, don't ever use that again. I mean, because so he had to go try and get syringes. It was really hard to get syringes back in like the 90s. They had a whole thing. So that's why there was but that's why there was also this AIDS epidemic and all that stuff, because they were making it difficult for people to get syringes. So people were reusing syringes,
Yeah.
instead of the government being smart and saying, hey, you know what, we'll make it accessible because they're going to do it anyway. No, they want to, do the lockdown on drugs and all that stupid crap. So anyway, enough about that. That's a whole
And back
different
to our
topic.
second
But
episode, we talked about getting syringes at the
yeah.
animal feed store.
Oh yeah, I know these are the 90s was the best, man. You had to be super creative. So me and my buddy, we go down to Tijuana. We drive all the way. This is when I was living up in Cali, and we took the drive. I mean, it was a long ass drive, let me tell you. And I went to Ensenada actually this time. So Ensenada is the next city past Tijuana. So it's a good, I don't know. I think it was an extra hour outside. And there is like this toll road, okay? Because you can take these roads that are kind of crappy and it's free. But I was like, oh, let's take the toll roads because I want to stay away. And I was always ready. Like, you never know, you might get,
Right.
they might try to
Yeah.
carjack you. So we were always prepared. We're like, okay, this could happen. Let's just be prepared. So we knew all about that. So I had a whole plan, right? It's so funny. I had this plan. We're gonna go down to Tijuana. I'm gonna get steroids, right? And again, it was really difficult to get it.
First of all, how easy is it at Tijuana to go get steroids? Do you just walk into the
Yeah.
dispensary and be like, yo,
You walk into
steroids,
the
all of
pharmacia.
it?
Yes. But again, sorry. So I've gone to Tijuana before, but I didn't like some of the stuff that was in Tijuana. I know that they had some fake stuff out there. And two, I didn't necessarily trust Tijuana. I was kind of like, I don't know what's going on in Tijuana. There's a lot of weird stuff happening. And I was just like, I don't trust these guys. If we get it, something might happen like after, right? And I was like, eh. So I said, let's drive to Ensenada. It's super quiet in Ensenada. Like there's nothing, there's not a whole lot going on. There's not a lot of tourists there. That's where we're gonna go get it. So let's go do this, right? So, and I don't even remember why. I think I was reading this somewhere and I was like, Ensenada's the spot to go. So my buddy, we drive down there, take this drive all the way down. We get to Ensenada, we're looking around. I'm like, oh, okay, here's the place. So we go in there, pharmacia. I'm like, hey, you guys have steroids. What's interesting is I don't recall if they had Sustanon. They had Primotestin, not Primobolan, Primotestin, which was basically testosterone enanthate, 250, like 250 milligrams. And they were in the little vials, the breakaways.
Yeah. Okay.
So they're little brown breakaway vials. They had that. And I don't remember how much it was. It was pretty cheap. It was probably like $5 a vial or something, $7 a vial. I don't know. It was cheap. And I remember going, okay, like I wanted to get a bunch of those, right? And because I didn't want anything really big, any bigger vials. So I thought, all right, I'm going to go get these little ones. And my plan, I told my friend before we went, I said, hey, man, I'm going to take this cooler. I'm going to get bread. I'm going to get We're going to bring some bologna, cheese, whatever, mayonnaise. We're going to put this all in this cooler like we're making sandwiches. You know what I mean? And we're going to have we're going to make a couple sandwiches beforehand so it's not full. But then what I'm going to do is when I get all the vials, they're about, I don't know, about an inch and a half long. And they're not very thick. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the bread out and then I'm going to stick it each vial inside the bread and then go the next layer. So if you squish, it's bread, right? If you squish it, if you just go like that, you can't tell because they're all layered and there's bread in between them. So it just squishes, right? These guys really gonna like, is the customs really gonna open up the bread and go through it? I really doubt it. That's my thinking. I don't know. I came up with this on my own. Nobody told me. I didn't read this anywhere. I just thought of this on my own. Like, let me do it in there. Because I'm thinking they're probably thinking I'm going to put in the jar of mayonnaise and they can stir it or something. Well, I'm not going to do that. That's pretty obvious. I'm going to put in the bread. So yeah, so we go down there, we go into this pharmacia and they had it. And I picked up a whole bunch of them. I don't know. I think I picked up like 30 vials or something. That was like the max that I could get, right? And then I had syringes. I grabbed a bunch of syringes, right? Well, the syringes was tough. I was like, I don't know where to hide that. So I thought I'm just going to put those in the door panels, like underneath door panel. And then if they get me with the syringe, not that big of a deal. They're probably not going to arrest me or nothing. They're just going to be like, "Hey, you can't have syringes." I'd be like, "Okay, cool." So I was hoping we wouldn't get stopped, but we're wearing like sweatshirts, which is so funny. It was the 90s. You had these sweatshirts, and we're both sitting in there in the car, and we look pretty obvious. But I was hoping that we could get through it without looking too obvious, right? But anyways, let me finish. So I'm in Ensenada. I get all the vials. It's weird. There was a glass case here, okay? And I remember I was like, "Oh yeah, let me get this." And I go like this, lean it, and it was old, and the glass case broke. Like the top of it broke, and I was like, "Whoa!" Like that that glass was really old, apparently, because I barely was leaning on it. And then the girl, she was younger. I don't know. She probably her parents owned the place. She was like, "Oh," she didn't know what to do. And I said, "Well, give me my stuff, okay." "Well, we're good, all right, thanks, guy." And I was like, "Let's go, dude," because they're probably gonna be like, "You owe us all this money for this glass case." So we got out of there quick before anything happened. Jumped in the car, made it back. Didn't have any issues driving all the way back to Tijuana to the actual border. We pull up to the border. They're like, "Hey, how's it going? What are you guys doing in Tijuana?" "Oh, we just went to Ensenada. We just kind of hung out, just checking it out, cruising." "Oh, okay. Pull over there." And I was like,
Yeah.
"Oh, great." Like she looked at us and she was like, "Pull over there." The lady was just all over it. So I was like, "Fine." So we pull over and they were like, "Oh, do you have anything in your car? You guys have anything that we should know about? Any illegal, drugs or anything?" And I think they were looking for drugs, like real drugs too, right? Obviously cocaine, marijuana. And I'm like, "No, nothing." Like, "Okay, go in the room. You guys are going to go in this room over here and wait while we look through your car." So that was interesting because I've been stopped before and they had me just stand there and they would look through my car while I was standing there. This time, this was a different time. They wanted me to go in the room. And I was like, "Well, this is different." I'm like, "Man, they're going to do a full search." And then my friend looks at me like, and I'm like, "Don't say shit." Like I said, "Don't say anything." So like we go in the room, we're sitting there. The guy comes back and he's like, "Are you sure you don't want to tell us? Da, da, da. It'll be easier for you, pulling the whole cop thing." Like, and I'm thinking, dude, if you found something, you would already be telling me you found it. You wouldn't be saying, "Are you sure?" So I was like looking at him and I was like, well, and I thought to myself, I said, well, I better say that those syringes are in the panels because it's going to take them literally 2 minutes to pop a panel off and see it. And if I don't say, then he might get pissed. You know what I mean? So I was just like, I'm going to have to give up the freaking syringes. And I was thinking, that's it though. I'm not giving up anything else. So I said, well, we did get syringes. And he goes, "Oh, you did?" And I go, "Yeah." He goes, "What was that for? What is it for?" I go, "Oh, well, I can't get syringes back in the US." And he's just like, "Oh, for what?" And I said, "Well, I do vitamin B12." We're making up some shit, right? And that was the thing back then.
Yeah.
And he goes, "Oh, okay." He was kind of cool, but he didn't know what the hell was going on. You could tell. So they grab it and they go, "Well, is there anything else? Is there anything else?" And I'm like, "No, man, that's it. We hung out, and then that's all we got." He's like, "Okay, we're just saying, you can make it easier on yourself." No, I said, "No, no, no." I'm like, "We're good, dude." And then my friend is sitting across from me, and he's just like, he's so nervous, and I'm just like, hell no, am I gonna say that I have anything
Yeah.
else? I'm just like, I know my bread trick is gonna work. Like I am so fucking confident that this shit's gonna work. I sat there, we're sitting there, my friend's sweating bullets.
And I'm just like this, like I'm
Cool as
feeling
a
good. Like I'm
cucumber.
feeling good. I'm
Yeah.
feeling good about it. I'm like, I know it. I know it. And I gave up the syringes. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling good. So sure enough, they come back. They're like, all right, guys. So like, hey, we're gonna let you guys go. We're taking your syringes. You can't just know you can't be doing that, this and that. And I was like, oh yeah, sorry, there's no other way for me to get it. And he's like, all right, well, you guys can go. So we're like, all right, cool. So we jump in the car, and I'm like, dude, I told you the bread, bro. And my friend's like, fuck you, Mark. He's like, bro. And I was active duty at the time too, right? And he's like, fuck, bro, fuck that shit. He was so mad. And I was just like, hey man, I was like, bro, we're good, dude. We just took off. So
Holy
funny, man. I
shit.
was like, hey, it's all good. I mean, that was kind of nerve-wracking, but Tijuana, Ensenada, that was the place you get back in the day. You couldn't mail. There was no mail order. Like it
Yeah.
wasn't a thing, it was just where are you gonna get it from? I mean, if you didn't know somebody
Yeah.
personally. So yeah, that was a fun, crazy day. And I never did it again. I never went down there after that. Too much of a risk. Well, actually, sorry. I did go one more time, years later. I did go one more time, and I was like, okay, this time it's even better. I had a better idea. I had a better idea. We went to Tijuana. I was with a bunch of like friends, like a bunch of other guys, like coworkers and stuff. And I didn't tell anybody. I was like, I'm just gonna do my own thing. They don't have to even know, and it'll
Yeah.
be even better because none of them are bodybuilders.
Yeah.
I'm the only bodybuilder. It's like go down there, check out this idea. These are things. Nasal
Yeah.
spray,
Yeah.
nasal spray. So I take the nasal spray. All right. I take out the little tube that was in it because it's sterile in there.
Yeah.
It's sterile. Yeah, it's all they use it for your nose. So I take out the tube, I put it cup the cover, I spray it all out, get it all out of there, right? It's empty. And then what I did was I got syringe. I think it was like sus 250s or something, and I just filled it up. And I forget how much was in there. It's probably about good. It probably was about 20, 30 cc's. I could put in that thing. Just filled it up like that. And then I just put the cap back on it. So it's all in there.
Yeah.
It's sterilized
Yeah.
because it's in the bottle. Everything's good. Cover it up. I had some aspirin, some other stuff too, right? With me. I had some prescription seasick pills, like motion sickness pills with me too. Even better. Had that with me. So I go. What happens? What do you think happens? We're walking through the border. Who gets stopped?
You get
Me.
stopped. Yeah.
Nobody else. They stop me, and my friends are like, "What the hell's going on?" I'm like, "Oh god." They stop me, and the guy wants to see what I have, so I put it out there. They're looking at it. They're like, you can tell they're like being moody,
Yeah.
like they're kind of annoyed, like nasal. Oh, what is this? I said, "Well, read it, dude. Has my name on it. It's for air sickness. Like, what do you, or not air sickness, seasickness. Look at it." Like he's like, really. I'm like, come on, bro. And he's like, well, he was thinking that I put some other pills in there, right? And I'm like, no, those are my prescription pills. I take that with me. And he was looking at it like, so he was which is so funny. I did this. He was so hyper focused on that bottle that the other stuff he wasn't paying attention to much. So he was like, he thought that I had switched the pills out because there was a bunch of like pink pills in there. And he was just like, what are these pills? Like, and I was like, that's what they are. Like you can look up the number, like I don't know,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
whatever you
Yeah.
guys got to do. And he's like, oh, and he was irritated, but he said, "Here, okay, you can't be bringing this stuff through here, And I was like, "Why? It's my
Prescription.
stuff.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not gonna leave it. I don't want to leave it in my freaking room or somebody take it. Like, it's my stuff." And he's just like, "Oh, well, just take it. Yeah, don't become." He gave me the speech, right? And I was like, "Whatever, dude." And I grabbed it, and again, then the nasal worked. I was like, "This is so funny." And I took it, and I had my little thing of whatever steroids for however long it was that lasted me. Again, this was like the 90s, right? Late 90s. So yeah, very interesting times. And now
And
everybody goes and orders it online and gets it through China. And you can get it
right.
prescribed. You can just go to a doctor and get it prescribed now. And it's just so funny, all the things that we had to go through.
But that's what made it fun back in your guys'
Yeah,
day.
fun but stressful. But I was willing to risk jail time for it.
For a little bit of sus.
For a little bit of gear. That's how I want to say, was it taboo, I guess? I don't know. That's how it was, just really hard to get it back
You
then.
got good
Yeah.
stories from it now, though.
Oh, I have, yeah, there's some good stories,
So
man.
back to the sus. I think sus is overrated if you don't if you don't know how to do it properly, use it properly, incorporate it properly inside of your whatever your regimen, I think it's overrated, especially because it's a multiple of esters, and some people it doesn't react well to their bodies. They
Mhm.
rather have their bodies like something a little bit more consistent than something that varies with numerous amounts of different esters in it.
Yeah.
So I think sus is overrated.
Yeah, I would agree. I would agree with that. Overrated. I prefer just running one ester.
Yeah.
Or if I'm gonna run like two esters, then I'll just separate them and do them different. Like
Mhm.
prop and sip or something. I would do the prop different days. So I would agree with that. Sus. Never was a huge fan of it anyway. I just didn't have any other options.
Mhm.
If you look at the percentages of the long acting versus short acting in there, just take sip. It's not. I don't think it's
It's right in
worth
the
it.
middle. Yeah, it's middle ground.
I think it's like sounds cool on paper.
Mhm.
So I don't. I've done both, not seen any difference. But I will ask you guys what you think about test suspension.
Go ahead, Mark.
Oh yeah. I think that it's overrated. If it's for building muscle, for sure, overrated.
It works really good.
Well, the problem is that are you gonna do that every day, dude? You're gonna inject that, and that shit hurts, bro.
Oh,
Mhm.
Yeah, it does. You get real test suspension, the water-based one.
oh, I've tested it. I know.
Yeah, no, it's freaking hurts. I don't know because I think you can just use other tests and get the same
Yeah,
results to
the
me.
sides aren't worth it. I don't think.
Yeah, that's why I'm saying it's overrated because like you can just use another ester and still get what you want from it. Um, that's why I think it's kind of overrated. Like, why would I want to use something that's so fast acting injectable like that when I have another option, which or three, I pro sip enhance, there's
I,
other
I don't
there's
think
other,
there's any advantage to using it every day. I
yeah,
mean, it's
it
really it
works,
feels
but
cool. It definitely works, and it definitely puts
yeah,
weight on you. But
yeah,
you're not going to be able to run that for 3 months at a time or
yeah,
something. Yeah.
I'm on board with that. Overrated because yeah, are you gonna inject it every day and for how long?
yeah.
After a while, it could get freaking irritating.
Oh, it will get,
Post injection pain. I
yeah.
don't know. Everybody differs on what, uh, whether it be yeah, whether it be different type esters or different type of carrier oil. Or everybody
Mhm.
has their own thing. So personally overrated, but if you like that shit,
Hey, that's the original steroid.
yeah,
Germany,
Germany.
Nazi was using it. The Germans were using it on their soldiers in World War One, I think. Yeah. That's the original steroid was test
and,
suspension.
and their Olympia athletes or Olympic
Oh,
Olympic
yeah.
athletes.
They like the Germans they love the oral tyrannical, to be honest. That's what they
Yeah,
were
oh
getting
yeah, that
busted
too
for
as well.
back in the 60s. All those swimmers, they were taking oral T tyrannical. Yeah, a lot of them got busted for it.
Talking about
But
post injection pain, this is a good one. Uh, Injectable Winstrol.
good stuff.
Heck no.
Good stuff, baby. It works. No, it's good. Well, I can tell you right now, I think injectable Winstrol is more effective than oral. Like, I
Yeah.
think so. Is it worth, the pain and all that? I don't know if it's worth it. I would probably just take the oral, but I think it definitely works for getting you dry, for just getting that dry look. Yeah, the water base, Winnie, for sure, but it's painful. You got to do it a lot. So you got to deal with that. I don't know if it's worth it to you. Some people, I just think oral could probably help you. Yeah, just as well. So
What's your position on
I
inject?
haven't used it enough to give an opinion. I've always just went oral.
yeah,
So
yeah.
All right. As far as injectable Winstrol, painful, I will say. And as far as it being an injectable, because it is water based, instead of injecting it, you could do it sublingually, hold it under your tongue for, I don't know, 30 seconds or whatever, and then just wash it down. You pretty much get the same effect. The only thing, it's because it's a 17AA, it's going to go through, liver pass twice, and, it could be deleterious to your liver if you take it longer than you should. And it being liquid, measuring it compared to what you'd get as far as press tabs. Depends on who you're getting, what source is from. If you're getting the liquid winch straw, more than likely, especially the break top ones, you're getting it from its legitimate source, right?
Mm,
You don't see those anymore
no,
with the
those were the
the
good
break
ones.
top, and
Oh,
it
that
was
was a good
white
one.
and
Yeah,
milky, and you got to shake it
that
up
was a good
before.
one. That was a good one for sure. Yeah,
Yeah, so
yeah,
you might get a little bit more bang for your buck knowing that that's the legit shit
yeah,
compared to the press tabs that you get now. So,
yeah,
injectable overrated.
yeah. Okay. All right. I like it. We'll do one more thing and then
All
we'll
right, one more.
call it a day.
Okay, call it a day.
We're gonna do an exercise, the king of legs, the king, the exercise squats, free weight squats. This is the god of the leg exercises, right? It's the one. You think it's underrated, overrated? Squats, free weight squats, not Smith, not just free weight squats, barbell squats for leg development, leg growth, just everything that comes with it.
Your wheels spinning, Jed. You
If
want
you
to
know
go
how to do
first?
them right, they're underrated. People
Yeah.
need to do them. People are afraid to do them now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's technology and leg equipment is way ahead now where it used to be, but I can't remember who said the quote, but you can build good legs without squats, but you can't build great legs without squats.
Mm.
I'm just old school.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
I feel the same way. Legs, squats, free weight squats for legs is underrated. That we should do them more frequently. I mean, it's our natural movement pattern, like
Mm.
from the day-to-day use, sitting on the toilet, sitting on chairs, getting back up, and all of that other stuff, squatting for things and building strong legs. Let's see, as far as great for exercise and muscle building, I think they are phenomenal. And there's different variations of type of
Mhm.
squats that you can do to target more glutes, more quads,
Mhm.
more uh, hamstrings and such. So very much so underrated, and more people should be doing it.
Yep. I'm gonna agree with you. Underrated. I think squats are phenomenal exercise for building just everything, glutes, legs, all of it. I really think that it's one of the best out there. Obviously, if you do have injuries, you have back injuries, then maybe, maybe that's not the one for you. But again, just somebody who can do them. If you can do them, I highly recommend them. Free weight squats, not machine squats, not Smith squats, like free weight squats. If you can do it, you understand how to do them correctly, learn the form. A lot of people don't do them correctly.
Hmm.
They don't get the form right and they have issues. So learn how to do it properly. And I think the benefits are amazing. And just look at the bodybuilders from the 80s and the 90s and see what kind of development those guys had. And
Hmm.
I mean, some crazy leg development from a lot of them mainly did squats. I mean, that was their main source of leg development was the squat.
Yeah.
So,
And then, I mean, holding the bar on your back, stabilizing your core, it
oh
has
yeah.
numerous amounts of benefits to just the squats
Mhm.
in itself. I do need to ask while we're speaking on squats, ass to grass or parallel?
Oh, I mean, I think, if you're going to go heavy, like real heavy, I think parallel is good. If you go a little bit lighter, yeah, the grass is cool. You can go a little bit lighter. You can get the squeeze. I think there's a higher risk of injury a lot of times when people do grass, especially in the lower back. Yeah. So again, that's where the form comes into play. When you're going
Hmm.
with heavy poundages like that, like 85% of your max and stuff, I don't know. I think parallels or just slightly below parallel,
Yep,
maybe.
that's a good number.
Yeah, slightly
85.
below
Yeah.
85%. Yeah, it's so yeah. I think they're both useful. Like you had said, you can go lighter weight and just go ass to grass and just get the burn and really get those glutes, target the glutes, hammies and glutes for sure. Then when you go real heavy, I know Platts was amazing. He was one of the best that ever did it. And I mean, he would go ass to grass and that was amazing. Not everybody, I don't think everybody, not everybody's going to do it like that. You know what I mean? But that guy has some of the best legs
Yeah,
ever. So
sure does.
but yeah, he was one of a kind, I'd say. But yeah, but I think just below parallel is good to me, just right below parallel. Yeah.
Jed, what's your take on ass to grass or parallel?
You can get away with your hip breaking the knee line below parallel,
Mhm.
but if you're going to do that, you might as well just fucking go down to your ankles. And I'm older now, so I train lighter and go down. And you know, I don't want to put more weight on the bar and go halfway down. Right now, it doesn't make sense to me. I feel better going the full stretch. I mean, over time you can train it to get strong. I think that's smarter for your joints anyway if you start light and start training it like that.
Yeah.
I used to train, halfway down or parallel, and that one time you go a little too low and you pop something.
Yeah.
Is it really worth it?
Yeah.
So that's how I feel about it. I mean, but my whole time doing it, I always did it to where the top part of the leg was parallel. But now that I'm older and I can't do that all the time. Actually, I can't do squats at all, but I practice going all the way down on other stuff, and I do like how it feels.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Another
Yep.
great episode.
Oh, yeah, that was good. That was a good one. We had story time in there too.
Yeah, and it was very different. Hope it answered a lot of you guys' questions out there.
I mean, there's so many more things we can do on so many topics, right? But
Yeah, we can save it for later.
I know, but it's all good. It's all good. And yeah, we'll continue on different things for the next episode, and we got some other guests scheduled, for the next few weeks here and there. We have guests coming in. So
Oh, great.
yeah,
And
so
a
should be
show
good
coming
times.
up. There's a Aloha Muscle coming up. So
Oh, there
yeah,
is.
everybody in between's like here nor there, right? So
Yeah, Aloha Muscle is coming up. Yep. Ray show.
yeah. Well, thanks guys for another episode.
All right. All right, guys. Well, thank you for joining us, and we will see you next time on Paradise Pump. Aloha.